Hey, stream, just 2 seconds while I just get the correct settings down. Sorry. We'll say hi to everybody. We'll introduce what we're doing tonight, and then we'll get going just to make sure the sound's working fine. Okay, mine is, which is cool. Let's quickly say, hey, Dragunov.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
There we go. Awesome. So, sounds fine. That's fine. I just need to fit that to screen. And we are ready to go. Okay, awesome. So who is in chat? I see a lot of people waiting for us to go live. Thank you. It's like some more people than like when a division stream started. Stretchy was first. Simba was second. Penny's in chat. AD Smith, you became a supporter today or yesterday. Thank you so much. We're only 2 supporters off 70 now, which is sick. Thank you. I've messed around with some sound settings today, so I'm hoping all the sounds are good. We should be. We've King Clown, Janik, Yo, Grunnin, Sifter, Milkman, Rogue, Gamer, Rickster, English. Saying all my highs now, because when we get into this, we don't really read chat. We will be having a Q&A, though, at some point. Phoenix, I said a short of your singing the other day. I'm looking forward to your singing on Thursday. I'll have my Q&A from a studio where I film my home movies. I think you're doing Kedri.
Yeah, we don't want to see those home movies.
No, we don't. Okay. Right, the sound should be good, guys. None of you have said anything otherwise, so we're going to get into an intro, and we should be live for about 1 hour tonight. Might go a bit more if it's anything like 2 weeks ago. But yeah, welcome to GCROCK Let's Talk. So this is episode 2, and tonight our guests are, we've got Night-Violator, who's a community head admin. Night's been around many years now. It'd be good to hear Night's story, how he found us, how he grew within the community, and what he does. A lot, you want to know what some of our admins do. You want to know what goes on behind the scenes. So hoping Night will share some of that with you today. Our second guest is Dragunov, who's also an admin. He's a supporter as well. We do prioritize supporters in these. This is the second time we got a supporter in. But he's got a couple of roles within the community now. He does the TSW channel admin, and he's also taken the new maintenance role as well, among, I'm sure, many other things. So we've got Dragunov, and we're going to learn more about Dragunov and what Dragunov does as well, and Dragunov's community story, which I've heard recently. It's a good one. There's some 2 great members in tonight. We've got a community discussion as always. So after we've done introductions, we got to know them a little bit. That'll last about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We're going to move on to community roles this week. Last time out, we spoke about toxicity within the community, which is a really good conversation. And I think tonight we want to talk about community roles. So we're going to just go over that. Basically, we want to get across, what we look for when we're promoting people, what we don't look for as well. A lot of people in the community look at roles and they want to progress within the community. So we're hoping to give you a bit of an insight into how we manage them, what to do and what not to do. So at the end of that, after that conversation, once we've discussed that, we will do a Q&A. We've got a couple of Q&As as priority from our supporters, and then we'll be taking some from chat. So do post your Q&As when we get there. There's any questions that you got, hold on to them for now because I'll probably miss them, but we will do a call to action when we get to that, and we'll answer some of your questions as well. And this will get uploaded as a podcast too. So if you listen to this via the podcast and you don't know who we are, make sure you search for us. We're GCROCK on Discord and on YouTube. So we're going to get this kicked off now. We're going to start with Night-Violator. So, Night, first, hello, how are you? And share your community story. How did you find us? How did you get to where you were? What do you do? Give us a bit about your story.
I came across the Discord through YouTube. I started playing the Division. I came back to Division 2 after playing Division 1. I pretty much gave up quite early on Division 1. Started on Division 2, and I think I got stuck on Hunters. So I needed to find somebody to tell me how to do a couple of Hunter masks. So I had a bit of a search on YouTube, found a couple of people, some weren't in English, and then I found G's channel. So I watched a couple of videos, subscribed, and then a couple of weeks later, it popped up that there was a Discord, and I'd never heard of Discord up until that point. So I decided I'd give it a try. So clicked on it, set up an account, joined up, and it was a bit different then to what it is now.
Just a little bit, right?
Yeah, it was like, yeah, because this was, I guess, and this was in the May or June after Division came out, so probably a couple of months in. And I think when I joined, you could see everybody's name on the side who was online, because there was only 700 people in the actual server. It was quite small. Everybody knew everybody's name. Yeah, and it was quite busy, and really quickly made some friends. So I picked up like a couple of mates who I used to play Division with every single day. So we used to grind every afternoon. Once I got home from work, I'd play every day. Yeah, and found some really good friends. So yeah, it was a good joining.
That's what
And
it's about,
then,
though, isn't it? Right? Finding friends, what this community was built upon, and then. Sorry, Scott.
yeah, up until that point, I'd put, for years and years, other than sort of my mate, my best mate in real life, who I play with regularly. I'd played solo for years. I hadn't played with other people, and it was a bit of a change. Seeing hundreds of people who you could group up with and play with different people every day. Yeah, it was awesome. So I stuck around. Yeah,
So,
and then got asked to, um, just started getting sort of friendly with different people, and then got asked to join the clan. So I joined one of the clans, and then I was helping, sort of doing some of the lieutenant and stuff. I guess like everybody does in the Discord, they join a clan. Well, the majority do. Yeah, so I just joined just for friends, really, and for people to play with. That's how it started for me.
how did you, from that then, how did you become head admin? And what do you do now with that role?
Well, yeah, I did it up to being head admin. I did a few different roles. So I did. So I was clan lead. So I looked after a clan for a little while. Yeah. So yeah, that was. I loved that. That was Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell 6 was my PlayStation clan. Loved that clan. I think it's been renamed now, and I can't remember what it got renamed to. I was devastated when somebody renamed it and changed it. But yeah, and then so I was clan lead for a while, and I did a little bit of streaming. So I streamed a few times on the channel. My internet wasn't great, so that was a bit of a problem. And then just got more and more into it. Got more and more into helping people, and doing all sorts of things. Meeting different people, and then at some point, I can't remember when that was, maybe 18 months ago, I got asked to be like an admin. And at the time, I think there was about 8 admins, I believe. And we all picked up different roles. So I did what Dragunov does now. So I shared it with 50 pence, and between us, we looked after the clans, and we looked after the TSW channel. As the clans were growing and new clans were coming on board. Yeah, so, and then after that, a few people sort of scaled back what they were doing in the community, because you see that quite a lot. You see a lot of people take on roles, and then things happen in real life, so they scale back what they do. So, things go up and down quite a lot. So, but fortunately, things haven't changed much for me, and
Very
now
fortunately.
yeah, fortunately they haven't changed. So yeah, so at the moment I'm head admin with Penny, Strudel, and Paul. The 4 of us do it between us, and I don't know, it's really quite hard to describe, because the role changes regularly. It changes what you do day to day, and it's evolved. So when the community was a lot smaller, the role was different. It was a lot of making little changes. So we'd make little changes to the Discord. We would deal with clan issues. We would deal with a lot, basically everything between us. So anything that cropped up, any issues, any changes that needed to be made, any maintenance, it was done between everybody. But as the server's grown, we've taken on more and more admins. So like the head admin roles, I see it kind of like long-term planning and long-term sort of strategy. So like we come up with where we want the server to be long-term, and then we've got objectives of how we want to get there. So it's making changes and stuff to get us into that place, really. So
Definitely.
that's where I see it at the moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's
think
what I do.
it is. I think your story's been a good one. Like
Sorry.
everything you just said. Obviously, what we liked. I remember when you first came to like TSW admin with 50 pence. That was like a first time we expanded the higher team. That was, to be fair, because it was very small back then. And then you were the first. That's when there's like 8 admins when you started doing that, and then you just naturally progressed onto head and. All you had to do such a good job, and it used to be managing, like you said, just loads of community related stuff, big decisions, problem solving. But now it's very much how do we push this community further. It really has grown, hasn't it? And that's where the roles become now. The team beneath you's grown huge as well. That's what we do now. So yeah, definitely, it's been a bit of a journey for you there, really. You've been through all sorts. And you did all that art as well, Night. I remember I still use the branding that you made for both channels. That's something that you've done too.
So, yeah, it's just like it's just getting involved in everything. The community is the community, and even though to me it's not a division community. It's just a gaming community. So even though the majority of people play division, and the majority of people find it through playing the division, that's not how I see it. I see it as more of just a community of gamers, and it has changed. Like now we've got a lot of the structure's completely different. We've got a lot of admins that look after certain areas of the server, which makes it a lot more manageable because it gives you a lot more time to focus on things that can change it to make it easier for people, because it is a big server now.
Huge.
The channels, just even browsing to the channels, and I remember somebody saying once, when you've got sort of a big juggernaut, it's hard to make little changes. You've got to make quite a big change to get something to move. But yeah, it's just keeping it so that we can keep it moving forward and in the right direction, really.
Definitely. So I know there's a lot of people asking about head admin and sort of what we do. I think Knight answered that great. So I hope that gives people a bit of a perspective on the head admins and what we do. Thank you, Knight. Is there anything else you want to add, or should we move on to Dragunov?
I'll think of something else. Move on to Dragunov for
now. We'll come
if
back in a minute.
If I start talking, I won't stop. So keep me under control.
No, it's a good story, man. You've definitely, thank you. But you've been on a long time, and yeah, thank you. So Dragunov's our other guest tonight. Dragunov's been with us a long time now. Maybe Dragunov will explain how long you've been with us. But Dragunov, your community story, how did you find us? Tell us your story and a bit behind the scenes of what you do now as well.
Well, I kind of come across a little bit like Knight's story. I was watching Division videos on YouTube, trying to figure out how to do certain things. And funnily enough, I came across your channel, and I was like, this guy's got really good content. It's kind of direct, and it kind of helped me get to where I needed to in the game, kind of figure out what I needed to do in the game. So it helped me. And then unknowingly, I think it was Christmas time 2019. I was just watching YouTube and I stumbled across your YouTube with your gameplay stuff, and I didn't link the two. They were like, I didn't know that was you from the videos I used to watch.
Mm.
And then it only just twigged after a little while, after going through your channel a little bit more and actually watching your videos. I was like, that voice sounds familiar, and some of the stuff he said and some of the stuff he's talked about sounds familiar. And I went back through my history. I was like, it's the same guy I watched for like kind of the videos for how to do the hunters, how to complete some of the secret things in Division.
Mm.
And then Division 2 came out and stuff like that. But I was going through a really rough time at work during Christmas, and your kind of videos kind of helped me get through that. And I've never been like part of a community or anything. That was relatively new. YouTube, like people watch YouTube and stuff like that, but they never want to kind of get involved in stuff like that. And I think your channel was the one that actually I got involved with. I was talking a lot, kind of talking to a lot of other people and stuff like that, and kind of getting involved. And I remember saying to you, like, how does someone kind of contribute? Because the content you were making was getting me through. It was making me feel a lot better in a very difficult situation that I was in my life at that time.
Mm.
And I just wanted to give something back. And I remember you said, like, obviously follow the link and stuff like that. But like, I joined Discord in, I think it was February, something like that, 2020, after Christmas of 2019. And like, I was stuck. I got into Discord and I was like, where do I go? Like, there's so many channels, so many things.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time, but I kind of got to learn what's what. And excuse me, and figure out kind of where I should be looking for people to join up with groups and stuff like that. And met some fantastic people along the way, and kind of, I don't know, it's kind of surreal for me because I had no intentions of kind of going into sort of the position I'm in at the moment, and it kind of was only recently a right time for me to kind of take certain roles, and it kind of helps me, one, kind of keep me busy, keep me active, keep my brain occupied, and also meet new people, try and give back to the community, and try and like kind of just help out where I can, really. So yeah, I kind of look after the TSW streaming channel. Recently got the um, maintenance
Maintenance.
role,
Mm.
so helping to kind of maintain how Discord's operating, clearing out stuff that needs to be cleared out, modifying things, adding things, that kind of thing. And I'll hold my hands up. I'm kind of new to it all. So like um
And
Discord,
there's a
the
lot.
technical side of Discord
Mm.
is one thing that, I need to broaden, like kind of my learning curve on. So I've got a few people, Bob, Azzy, who are quite clever on it. Also, Milk's in there who knows a bit. So I'm just going to be picking each one of them to kind of learn what I need to, and kind of get up to speed where they are, and help out where I can. But yeah, I mean, it's a great community. I kind of don't know. I honestly don't know where I'd be without this community. Going through what I'm still slightly going through at this moment in time. But it's a release for me from my real life, to kind of come here and speak to people, have a laugh, get to know people. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my story. And I get
Yeah.
pestered a lot by G.
You do. You've been a lifesaver the last few weeks for sure. You should be so knowledgeable. I like your story, Dragunov. That is a lot of people's stories that they've came here, like Knight said as well, found friends. It's what this community does, and it still does it to this day. And that's what we've grown it for. You know, we want to give people a place to find friends, and that's what it does. It's awesome. And then you've progressed a lot, especially recently. I know you said you didn't want to progress a lot at one time because you had a busy life, you had a lot going on. It was good to see someone like yourself with more roles now and getting more involved, because you don't need to be at it. You know, you're allowed. It's not anyone's job, right? You know, you could work at your own pace as long as you support the community, and yeah, you both of you support it greatly. It's really good. It's really good. We need people like you around, and it's good to have you. One more thing though, like guys, he's on for people watching this live. He turned 40 the other day apparently, and look at him. He looks less 40 than I do. I love it. So that was your introductions. Now with these Let's Talk, if anybody's got any questions for these guys, save them for the Q&A when we get there. But today's discussion, which I wanted to discuss, was community roles. So Night-Violator, you've been involved in a lot of like the recruitment processes we've done. You've been around long enough to see a lot of change. We've had many role discussion and promotion and discussion within the admin chats. And Dragunov, you've gone through the system. You've applied for a role. You've got the role, and you've seen it from the other end. You know, one and all. You've probably seen other people. You've had negative experiences as well, where there's been people that have not handled like not getting a role well, and you've been a target of that. So this is the kind of stuff I want to discuss today in community roles, and just starting with that. Like, how do you move up within our community? So from day one, you join. You're nobody, as to say, like no one knows you. You've just checked out our community. You've clicked the link. You've joined in there. How do you go from that to climbing up the ranks within our community? And I think Night. Do you want to start with this? Have you got anything for that?
It's like you see a lot of people, so you get a lot of feedback, and you see a lot of people join the Discord, and a lot of people are active. Some aren't as active. Some are more active in game and helping people and grouping within their clan. Others are active in chats, and then you get to know people, and then other people get to know other people who recommend people for roles. So it comes from a lot of different directions. So, you know, when we decide structure changes and new vacancies come up, it is so difficult to fill those roles, because a lot of the time you put it out for applicants so people can apply for a position. And then there's so many good people, it's hard to pick who you think is right for that role. You know, you don't always get it right. You don't always keep everybody happy when you make a decision, but at some point you do have to make a decision. And then on the other end, you sometimes don't put it up because a job comes up and you already know the person who is perfect for that, because X amount of people have told you, you've met them, you know what they're like, and you know who the right person is for that job before, as soon as you decide on the job. So a lot of the time, some people are handpicked for it. But loads and loads of roles within the community all get filled in different ways, but everybody gets a chance. And even if some people don't get a particular role they apply for, sometimes if there will be another job or a role, sorry, not a job, there'll be another role coming up that they will be more suited to. So sometimes you don't take somebody for a role because you know something's going to happen that you can't quite talk about yet, and then that they would be perfect for that. So that it's quite a hard process when it comes to sorting out the roles for different things and who fills those roles. Yeah, it is a difficult job.
Very difficult. I remember we've slept on decisions for weeks, and that's not even an exaggeration. Night's been in the chat saying guys, we really need to make a decision now because we look stupid. Like, that's happened before, like, because it's been so hard to make a decision, you know. There's been so many good people, and we don't want to let anyone down. There's been times where it's been like two real good people for a role, and we've brainstormed of what this other person could do. You know, we didn't want to lose their interest or whatnot. And is there anything else we can push them towards? It is so hard, but I think the main thing is for people wanting to grow within the community is that you do need to get active. You do need to, you know, you can't just jump in the community, not be active and expect. Well, I don't think you would not be active and expect a role, but then you also can't just jump in the community and within 2-3 weeks, a community of this size expect a role. You know, there's people that have been here years now that still don't have roles, that still want them. And you just got to be respectful of that. You know, you've got to build your own presence, and you don't need a role to support this community as well. You know, like if there's roles available, happy days, apply for them. But you know, a role does not stop you from contributing at all. But before we carry on, Dragunov, what about yourself? So, same question really. From joining this community, you know, how did you go about getting to where you were, like, and get the opportunities that came to you?
Well, since I joined the community, I kind of made it sort of a decision to kind of get to know the community, get to learn what the community is about, make friends. That's the first thing. Um, and just find my place really, where my kind of where I fit into the community. And because of what was going on in real life, I wasn't at that point where I wanted to take any responsibility on. And I even said to like the admins and other people who kind of had an insight in the background as to decisions that were being made on roles and stuff like that. And I kind of said I'm not at that position to take any roles on. I don't want to take that commitment on
Mm.
because I've got real life stuff going on. And it would have been silly for me to take any positions at that time. Um, and I kind of sat on it, and I'm not really kind of one to kind of go chasing things either, but kind of also almost kept my nose clean, kind of got involved with people, got to know people. There was a few suggestions for things for me to do. And I was like, guys, I honestly can't. At this moment in time, I just can't.
Mm.
And then it came recently where there was the admin role for the TSW channels.
Mm.
And I kind of asked myself the question. I thought, well, is it is this the time where you actually apply for something and kind of find something that fits? Then you can obviously you know give something back more than you're doing at the moment. And based on what I kind of understood the role to be, and I went to ask, I think Penny, and then Penny pointed me in the direction of Night. So I spoke to Night and asked and said, like, what does the role involve? Like, what would you expect me to do if I got the position? And so we had a conversation. He went through exactly what it is. So I kind of asked myself, like, am I able to do this? Do I fit the criteria? And with my kind of design background, obviously stuff that as a streamer you've learned, I've learned, um, all
You
that kind of stuff,
better.
helping people.
So excited.
Helping people to set up the streams and stuff like that, and
Mm.
just anything that I don't know, like learning it and passing that on and stuff like that. So, there's things that I've come across now with setting up streams using people's PCs where I'm not used to AMD graphics cards. I've got a GeForce graphics card. All that stuff's relatively new for me, so I have to kind of learn it myself. But you know, I've spent sometimes 2 hours on a call with someone trying to figure out problems. But at the end of the day, I'm not doing this because I'm I'm sort of doing it for myself or anything like that. It's kind of giving somebody advice and help and something that you could pass on from yourself to another person. Uh, same with the community. If you can help out, you don't effectively need a role to help the community. Just kind of help the community and just carry on sort of being yourself. And if you are the right person to kind of get a role, have the right temperament, you'll get noticed. You don't, like I've been told many a time, you don't realize what who's looking at you, who sees you, and it kind of made me quite upset because of my kind of history, being quite independent, being an introvert, and then like one person said, you don't understand like how many people actually recognize you in the community and kind of see you, even though you don't hear about it, kind of see you. And it touched me, and that's when I thought, you know what, I kind of fit. I actually fit well here. Um,
Mhm.
and my morals, my principles, my etiquette, and all that took a while, but yeah, they fit with TSW. Um, and I'm just glad to be given the opportunity to kind of help out and sort of progress further. Roles or no roles, it's just one of those things you kind of got to just help do what comes naturally to you, and eventually you'll get noticed. There's no real urgency of kind of getting a role and stuff like that. I waited like over a year until I was ready to actually kind of say, I'm at a point now where I've got space and I think I can actually give something back in a different way. Like I was raiding and helping people all the time,
Mhm.
um, and just getting to know people and just doing random things really. But now my roles and everything like that, there's a lot more commitment. And yeah, sometimes it gets difficult because you kind of you have to have eyes in lots of different spaces and kind of deal with things all at once. But it takes time, it takes practice, and you kind of get to learn how to do things. Like I remember when I got the admin role, I was asking, "Is this okay? Is this okay? Is this okay?"
Mhm.
And eventually, kind of pick up how like people are thinking, like what you think is okay, and somebody who you know well, they'll think it's okay and stuff like that. So you kind of are able to deal with things independently rather than obviously asking. And I kind of picked that up quite quickly.
Yeah.
Uh,
We like trusting our admins. Like once you're in a position, like you're there because we trust you as well. So we
yeah,
trust your
And the good,
decisions.
yeah, and the good thing with the people in the roles in the community, they're so different. So you've got, and I think the only way to describe it is balance. It's when you look at everybody and what the roles they're in, it's very, very balanced.
Mhm.
Like Dragunov said that he's quite introverted. I'm the opposite. So I'm quite loud. Um, before
Mhm.
anybody says anything, I'm keeping an eye on chat. Before anybody makes derogatory comments. But yeah, it's balance. It's
Mm.
everybody sort of works together really, really well. And, we've had times where things haven't been balanced, but, that's what it's all about. It's about giving people the chance to do things and, because it does help. You've got no idea what role, when somebody's given a role, how it's helping them outside of the game or
Mhm.
outside of the server. You just don't know what's going on with people and how much it helps people. This
yep,
community is awesome.
yep,
Yeah, you're right. I like what you're right there. Like the balance that we've got right now. Like there's times it wasn't balanced. But balance is so important, and having different mindsets, different opinions, different sort of cultures within the team, but being respectful. It's very good when there's decision making, to have all those different thoughts and beliefs come together to make decisions as well. And what you were saying, Dragunov, as well, is just we really like to put across to the community, like that's exactly what we look for when we're looking at people for roles is people that just do. You know, it's so important. Like, you shouldn't need a role to contribute in the community. And Dragunov has been contributing for a long time with no role whatsoever. He turned down roles because he felt he couldn't commit to them. There's other people like that. We've wanted to give roles and have turned them down because they felt it wasn't for them or whatnot. But what they were currently doing, they'd still do because they wanted to support the community, but they just didn't need a role for it. And it's these people that we really like, you know. It's the people that get active and contribute but don't even think about roles, you know. People that come in and demand them is really off-putting, and especially when you got people like Dragunov that are in the community contributing like they do with no roles. It's so nice and refreshing to see. So this brings on to the negative side of roles now, because we've had instances recently that involves yourself, Dragunov, and we like to call them role chasers. And it's people that feel they're owed something from the community, or people that have applied for roles and been turned down, and all of a sudden we're the worst enemy. And there's been an instance recently where that's happened, where someone did not get a role from our decision, and someone's made to feel bad about getting the role, you know. And it's such a tough decision, like Night-Violator mentioned before. It's so hard to pick between one person and another. It's not like, it's not easy, but we have to pick, you know. We have to choose, and we chose one person, and you know, and it's sad, and sometimes you see people leave the community, just lose complete interest in the community because they weren't given a said role. It's so sad to see. Was there any negative experiences that you guys can think of and discuss and share with the people listening?
Night, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I've seen it a few times. So we've had people apply for positions, and there's been an instance. I'm not going to mention names, but there was an instance a while back where we took one person over another person, and it was purely down to the fact that we discussed it between the head admins. We'd picked the person that we felt was best for that job, but the other person was perfect for a different admin position that was going to be coming up, because we had a long-term plan of expanding the server, which includes expanding the admin team, to match it, because you've got to match the growth with the right amount of people. So this other person was perfect for the next job coming up, and wasn't quite right for the job that they were up for at the time. But once they didn't get the job, as G mentioned, and we've seen quite a few times, they just stepped back. They just decided they were less active. They weren't helping as much. They weren't doing the things that was bringing them to our attention as being perfect for something. And they just sort of withdrew. And it was like really annoying, with the fact that they were perfect for something else, but we couldn't, go into detail. But, we see it all the time. And then you do get people who apply for roles just to have that role. And so people have applied for a role. We've given them a chance, because we always try to give somebody a chance when they want to help, because we need people to help. And then once they've had the role, they just didn't do anything with it. They suddenly stopped helping and went the other way, because they'd had the role that they wanted, and they saw it as a title rather than how can I help.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, roles are roles for a reason, and we need people in those roles to perform them, and it's not nobody's job. But when you got a community of this size, there's enough people that are doing it or wanting to do it, and you can't just have a role for the title. It's not how it works at all. And we have had to let people go that we really liked, because things were just not getting done to any standard, if anything. Like, we'd be, again, mentioning no names, this isn't about mentioning names at all, but we'd be waiting on DMs for weeks, and that's just not acceptable in a community that's big. Like, we need communication's key. If you can't even communicate, well, that's an issue, right? And roles are roles for a reason. So when you do want a role, if you do get it as well, you've got to perform that role. So that's what I like about what Dragunov was saying before as well. When he's been offered roles in the past, he felt like he couldn't commit to that role, so he turned them down, and that's so good to see, because the people that we give the role to, you do need to commit to them. At the same time, it is a commitment for sure. Can you think of what about yourself, Dragon? I know you've been through a negative experience. Do you want to discuss that at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So recently, before I was given the TSW channel admin position for the stream side of things, I applied, and I know somebody else who'd applied after I went through it, and I had a lot of sort of negative um, impressions because I got the position and heard certain things were being said, and I actually confronted that person and asked them. Left it stew for longer than it should have done, really, and partially my fault because, like I said, I'm a bit of an introvert when I'm confronted with sort of challenge and stuff like that. There's two sides of me. One will know how to deal with it straight away, but when it's something personal, which this kind of was, it was very close to my heart, not the position, but the people who were involved. That made it difficult for me. That made it really difficult for me because I didn't know how to kind of go about it. I was stuck.
Mm.
And hearing some of the negative stuff that was being said, like it hit me hard. And I wasn't in a good place, to put it perfectly. I sort of disappeared from Discord,
Mm-hmm.
stopped talking to people, and it took me a while to come back. I was in a really, really bad place, not going into it, because
Mm.
obviously that's something I don't really want to share. That's
No,
personal
of
to me.
course.
But I confronted this person and I just said, "Is there any issues? Have we got something to talk about? Like, is there anything you want to say?" And they kind of just said, "No, everything's fine." Like, blah blah blah, straight to my face, and I just thought, well, there is, because I could tell by your tone and I could tell by like other people telling me what you're saying behind my back, like negative things, and it's like, just come to me. Like, I'd appreciate more if people kind of just came straight to me and said, "This is the problem, blah blah blah. We can talk about it." Like, this community is all about communication, and a couple of
Mm-hmm.
people, after discussing things, like, because I wanted to clear my side of the story, just in case there was something that wasn't actually being said from the other side. I have spoken to a couple of people and I actually said, like, communication is key, and I've said this to quite a few people, especially when they're going for roles and stuff like that. If you want a role and you're not getting it, ask someone. Ask someone why you're not getting that role. Okay? Because it's better you asking someone who's not give you the role than they could give you the answer, so you know what to do next time, rather than just making that conclusion that in your head you know why it is, even though it might be right, it might be wrong, and then possibly making it worse for yourself because you're stewing on it. Speak to someone, ask them, "Listen, didn't get the role this time. I'm a little bit annoyed, but is there anything I can do to improve?" Simple.
Yeah, that's a
Okay?
feedback. Mm.
And don't go chasing roles, because at the end of the day, it is like a job. Like, I put it to quite a few people. It's like, if you apply for a job position, you've got to know before you apply for that position whether you can do that job. Hence why you apply for it. And then when you go to an interview, you actually tell the people what your skills are and what you can do. think about it in a similar way. You're not getting paid for the job. You're not getting paid for the role, but it
Mhm.
is a job in itself because you are expected to complete tasks, perform, keep up to date with things within your role, and it can take time. Most people pick it up really quickly. Some people it takes time asking questions, stuff like that. But look at it as a job role, like you're applying for a job effectively because you're given jobs to do. Like the admin team, G, and other people will give you jobs and say, "This is yours. Go and take care of it."
Mhm.
And if you can't take care of it, then somebody will ask you why you can't take care of it. And if you
Mhm.
need help, again, communicate. Listen, same with the maintenance thing. I'm not the brightest spark when it comes to Discord stuff. But I will happily learn from the likes of Radial, as Dion, Milkman, and I will happily pick their brains as long as they're willing to and say, "Can you show me this? Can you explain what this is?" and stuff like that. Right, but if you can't do the job, say so. Don't be afraid. That's another thing. Like people will try and do something, not understand how to do it, and then be asked why, like, what's this? Say
Mhm.
something. Listen, I'm struggling. I can't do the role, or I need some help. It's
Definitely.
it's simple. Like it all comes down to communication, and a community this large needs people to communicate. Like nobody's gonna know just from possible Chinese whispers and stuff like that what's going on. Like people need to talk to each other to find out what's going on.
Mhm. Thanks for opening up and being honest about that recent and how it made you feel and how you went away from Discord for a bit. Everything you're saying, right? I just wanted you to share that because, like, what people don't realize, like, when they act like that, is like this community's been built on not being toxic. We want people to feel good, and when you go for a role and you don't get one, the absolute worst thing you can do is then go and badmouth the people that made that decision and the person that got it. That's the worst thing you can do. Like, if you that's a big role that you were going for as an admin role, and the person that didn't get it was a huge part of the community. It was such a tough decision. We gave it to you because we felt how you acted in the process of the whole like application, how you've acted within the community since you've been here. Loads of reasons why we gave it to you, you know, and that was not at any disrespect to the other person. Yet that person went and completely disrespected this community and yourself, and it's so sad to see. Like we shouldn't be losing valuable members of this community because we need people to fill roles. You know, as stupid in my opinion. Like we should all have the same common goal here. If you don't get, obviously I can appreciate the feeling a bit upset at not getting a role because you've really been wanting it. People should not be role chasing. Exactly what you said. You should not be role chasing. You should be contributing and wanting to contribute to this community. And you know, if you keep doing that, one day a role will come your way for sure. You know, it always does. Anybody that contributes that much, there'll always be something down the line. Like Knight touched on earlier, we'll create roles for people. We have people in mind going forward, you know. But when you act like that, and you make somebody that we just gave a promotion to leave the server for a bit because he needs a timeout. I remember that, you know, we had, it was sort of like complaints that weren't complaints. We found out about that but couldn't act on it because they didn't want us to act on it. We had all the information. It wasn't until we knew about your position and how you were feeling that we just forced action on that, you know, and we dealt with
I
it. But it was horrible. It was
Yeah, I
horrible.
got the feeling when like certain things were being said, certain things were told, and like I think my situation kind of tipped the scales, and I felt responsible for what happened. But the fact that it wasn't just me as well, it had impacted
A
a
lot of
handful of
people.
other people. Yeah, a handful
Hmm.
of other people. And also, it wasn't just about me, it was about other people, some of the stuff that was being said. And it's just like,
Yeah.
it hurt.
You've,
It hurt me more to find out what was being said about other people than myself. Like at the end of the day,
yeah.
come and speak to me, but don't be bad mouthing like people who had nothing to do with the situation. Like you just this is what I mean about going through in your head and making things up that, oh, this person, it's their fault and their fault, and they made the decision. Don't ask the question, find out, and
Be
then
an adult, basically.
yeah,
Be an
yeah,
adult.
yeah.
A lot of people were involved there. When you say you felt responsible for, you weren't at all. The only person responsible was themselves. But it's something that's happened recently. It's something we've seen throughout. This isn't the only instance we've had throughout our time and growing in roles. Like there's been loads, and we just wanted to make a point of it in this Let's Talk because we want people to know that roles within the community are not to be chased. That they are sort of to be earned, but you just be yourself. Just come in the community, be yourself, contribute any way you want, and when the opportunity comes up, apply for it. If you don't get it, don't let that demoralize you to a point where you got to leave the community. That makes no sense for anybody.
Never feel like you can't ask. Just ask somebody the question. How can I help?
Yeah.
It's just asking the question. We will never say no to somebody who's asking to help you.
No, not at all. If you want to contribute to this community, you can contribute to this community without a role. If you want to help, if you need help, we can help. Yeah, exactly what I just saw. I just had a CPU spike.
I just see it. I was like, yeah.
So we're gonna. Is there anything else any of you two want to add at this point? Or have we covered that? You think? I think. Personally,
I could ramble on for ages.
Yeah,
but I think
we could talk
it, yeah.
for ages. I think we just wanted to touch on community roles today. There's been a lot of change recently. There's a lot of promotions, and it's a big community. I just want admins to be respected with the decisions. I'd like you to know a lot of thought process goes into it, a lot of discussion goes into it, and a lot of hard decisions get made. A lot. And it's, if ever you apply for a role and you don't get it, don't think that we don't think you're good enough, because that's never the case. If you feel like you're good enough, you probably are. It's just that there's someone else that also was, and for whatever reason we chose that person. We don't always make the right decisions. We did with Dragunov, but we don't always make the right decisions at all. But again, like Dragunov said, like you can find that out as you do it. If you're in a role and you're struggling, how you handle that is vital as well. You got to ask that question. You got to ask for help. Some people just don't. And then the role goes up again or whatnot. But yeah, we're gonna finish our conversation there. If there's any Q&A, we're gonna move on to the Q&A now. So you guys in chat watching a live stream can ask away from now. I just want to thank Crazy Criminal for that super chat despite my CPU saying good topic. Any questions after that I'll be looking at. We're gonna start off with some we're going to start off with supporter questions that we got earlier today. So we prioritise some supporter questions for the Q&A. This is to finish off the Let's Chat now. Post any in chat, though, and we'll get to some in chat as well. So are we good to move on, guys, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Yeah, so a few questions were posted in the Q&A today. I let the guys know who was in tonight. And the first question was for Night-Violator. I'm not sure if you've already covered this. This was from Rogue Gamer. He said, can you troll me a bit more? I guess you troll in the community chat. But in all seriousness, what does it take to become a head admin? It sounds like a big responsibility.
I don't think it's a big responsibility. I think it's more of you've got to really love the server, and you've got to want to commit to help. You've got to want to commit to drive it forward to where we want it to get to. And it's just about bringing balance, really. Like there's been times, like I've never been shy to talk about it. There's been times where I've had really good friends who have left the server for one reason or another, and when I've made really strong relationships and they've left and I haven't left, and the server has kind of taken precedence for me over some friendships that I've had, because it's very, very difficult. But for me, it's just the love of the server, the love of helping, and I like to have a little hobby of something that I want to push that's different to what I do in my job day to day. And that's what I enjoy doing. So, and certain elements of it are very similar to what I do in my job, but certain elements aren't, and that's what I like. Like, it's great having Dragunov around because he's obviously very technical. I'm the least technical person in the world, so I'll come up with an idea, and then somebody else will have to tell me how to make it happen. But yeah, just commitment, I'd have said.
Yeah, it's commitment. And what I like one of the reasons, I can't even think of all the reasons why, because you were one, we never put head admins never go out for application. That's not how that role works. Head admins, it's gotta, I don't know, we gotta have bonds with them. There's gotta be reason. You're such a big part of this community, like, and to go through what you went through, I won't discuss it, but like to actually have close friends that left the server and you still stuck with us, and we're able to manage that. Anybody that ever does that, it shows huge commitment to us, and it's that level of commitment that's certainly needed for head admin for sure as well. Like, you were so committed, and it creates trust that just can't be beaten, really. Like, there's a level of trust you get from that with that person, and what Knight said, that's how you it's quite hard now, because like head admins how long have you been a head admin now, Knight? It's been a while, right? You, Penny, Paul, and Strudel.
Months, I guess.
Yeah, it's not a role that really like comes up or anything. Like, the guys do great at it. They're in direct contact with himself. We have a little chat open. We discuss a lot, and yeah, I wouldn't know how you would become a head admin now, but that's how Knight became it, and it's just a lot of commitment to the community. Next question, we'll move on. We got one in chat, which I'll go to next, and it's from Epic Zero. This is, again, I think it should be aimed at both of you, but I know you've had a lot of involvement around this, Night. What does it take to make a TSW clan?
Or to make up a new clan?
Yeah.
Well, we went through a stage at one time where I think we were up to possibly 50 clans. And it kind of felt like in the early days when we were growing a lot, like we were opening a clan every couple of days. So we were struggling to find clan leads. So yeah, I think it started off where we would find a clan lead, and then it would go from there. We'd find a lead. They would have friends that they played with day in, day out, which they would come across then as lieutenants, and then we'd just start filling the clan up, pick a name, and go from there. There was times where it felt crazy busy and we were opening clans like daily.
We had like a construction team, didn't we? I think Sifter was leading. Yeah, we had to have it was every day. There's a new clan being open. It was so busy. That'll happen again, by the way. I hope everyone's prepared for that whenever Division move their asses.
Yeah, it was busy time. We had a team of people who would open up new clans for us, and we had the names ready to go. But it's not just opening the clan; it's opening the clan in game. Then you'd put people in to help level that clan. Then you would create a channel in the server for that clan. Then you would have to get somebody to make the role in the server for that clan name, so that you could assign the role for each clan. So there was a lot of technical things behind the scenes of making a clan as well. So it wasn't just the sake of, you're in charge, just fill it up. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, there is a lot. And while we're on the topic, something that's came up recently, this is a question in my DMs, but people, it's very quiet at the minute, Division. We have so many clans, and the question was asked, this is wanted to be done by an old admin as well. Why don't we, because loads of clans are inactive now, why don't we bring the clan number down to make more clans active? And it's a great question. It's a hard one. I've always been against it. To a point, we've lost an admin in the past because of my feelings on this. But my feelings on this is we've put so much work into creating these clans. We advertise. We like to think that we're one clan, so we use the Discord to LFG anyway. You shouldn't just rely on the 50 people in your individual clan. But when a game's this dead, you are going to have a bit of inactivity within, especially when you got like 50 odd clans or whatever, you know. But the problem with like deleting clans and condensing them on a game that isn't dying is that in a couple of months' time next year, it's all going to be booming again. All these people are going to be coming back, and the hard work's already been done, and we don't want to undo that. So for anyone asking or watching and wondering why we don't condense clans right now, that is the reason. Now, the Division 2 is ever a dying game, and the game was going, and, you know, is only downwards from here. There's no sign of it picking up. Yes, of course, we'd probably start condensing clans for sure. I think you guys would agree. But until that point, when we know there's so much content to come, we have no plans to condense clans at all, because I think the Division 2 will get very busy again. So just, if you are still playing the game, just be patient and use the Discord to LFG. It's so important to use that Discord. Next question. I think I'm going to go to chat again. I do have one for me and you in a minute, Dragunov. You might just get involved on this one as well. Jin asks, how do you deal with conflict between admins or mods? So how do we deal with conflict within a team? Have you been involved in any conflict within the team, Dragunov?
Not conflict directly, but Night will kind of remember this because it was quite frequent, or recent, should I say. There was somebody in the community who was saying some quite negative things on a periodic basis, and yeah, there was a little bit of conflict between what we should do and like kind of how we should act on it. Negativity is a difficult subject because you can't really stop somebody's expressing what their views are about a game or whatever. But the main thing I kind of put across is like, again, communication. Has anybody spoken to this person, like, to say, like, is there a problem? Do you specifically have a problem that you want to talk to somebody about? Like, because you're saying the same thing over and over and over again, like, and it's been noticed and it's been picked up by moderators. And me and Knight were pretty much on the same book, weren't we, Knight? Like, kind of.
Yeah. I think we were a little bit different to how everybody else was thinking on it. But that happens, you know, and not everybody's going to have the same views on how to deal with everything. But I think what we do quite well is we talk it through. And I know it's the same for the head admins. Like, I'm trying to think back to an instance.
There's been a few.
And we never, like, we tend to go with a majority. So a lot of the time, the four of us will fully agree. There's been times where it's like 50-50, and then we have to ask G to take a look at it, because G doesn't always look at everything in our chat, because he's just too busy. But yeah, there's times where we don't always agree on everything that we bring in, and sometimes we bring things in that admins don't agree with. You know, like, I'll always lean towards scaling back the amount of channels in the server and cleaning it up. I always go towards ease of use for the server. Because you can, like, with the maintenance team now, with Dragunov looking after that, you know, somebody can say, oh yeah, it'd be really good to have a channel for this, and it gets added. Somebody else will say it'd be great to have a channel for this. Oh, great, we'll add it. So we listen to feedback from members, but the next thing you know, it's virtually impossible to navigate the server. So at some point, you know, like, I always lean towards cutting stuff out. and cutting back, and then the other admins don't always agree. But we work through it, and some things get brought in that you don't agree with. I've come up with ideas that not every head admin has agreed with, and they've been pushed through. But we're all still here. We're all, we've worked through it, and the head admin team is still the head admin team, whether we don't like something that somebody's done or, it's the way it goes. But that's why I think it's so good that we do talk everything through. And one thing I can say to the members is there is never a decision that happens that hasn't been worked through to within an inch of its life.
We touched on that 2 weeks ago.
Everything gets worked through, and no decision is taken lightly. Doesn't
Not
matter what it is.
Not at all. Like there's been, I think that's important about if you are in the admin team or a high role within the community, any role really, if there is some conflict that comes up, like conflict can just be a disagreement, right? A change, a different of opinion, and people will be very stood firm in their opinion, like they'll believe in that opinion, but at the end of the day there can only be one decision made, and that's what's great about this team that we have. There has been some right debates in that admin chat. I wish I could share some of them. I can't, but they've been good. They've been good debate. They've been good discussion points. You've got to see the quality of the characters that are in that team, and once a decision's been made, they move on, and they're friends, and they move on to the next decision. Some decisions are really easy. But yeah, conflict does come up. It's very rare. Very rare. We've lost someone to conflict within the team. It's happened because someone has felt that they felt that much belief in their opinion, and it has happened. But it's very rare. Like 1 or 2 times that happened. Generally, any conflict or anything is spoke about, and we move past it. Anything else to add before we move on to the next question?
No.
No. That's a good question, that, Jen. I liked it. Azog just wanted to say 14 months now, this community is still sticking to these great guys and gals, even though I don't play the Division 2. That's good to hear. Knight will like that. We like to think ourselves as not a Division 2 community, because I know we use that to grow, but hopefully in the future will there be much more methods to grow than just a Division 2, and it's a gaming community, Pelzer, GC, are you doing YouTube full time now? Yes, but I'm in a very good position to do that, I don't have a lot of expensive overheads. My outgoings are very minimal, and I'm in a position where I can come at the minute, as long as Division move their asses by the end of the year, do this full time. Just about. It's great, and the support you guys give me as well. Like, we started pushing members on the channel just months ago. I really started pushing it, and we're 2 away from 70 already. Patreon support, all that helps immensely. So thank you. But yeah, hopefully I can stay full time. That is the aim. Nathan, I'm new to this community, so I'm enjoying getting to know this bunch of great people. Glad you're enjoying this. We're going to go to another supporter question, and then we'll go back to the chat. So we did Rogue Gamer. Penny had a good question. And Penny wanted to ask, I'd like to know from both of you, what goes into a YouTube video, thumbnails, edits, like the time and the effort. So basically what goes into a YouTube video? You both uploaded YouTube videos before, so Dragunov, do you want to start with this?
Yeah, can do. So it's still relatively new for me, but kind of teaching myself and stuff like that. But with the video edits and stuff, you kind of have to think about it like a little bit like a story in a way, like what you want at the beginning. So like normally there's an intro, there's sometimes it's 2 sections to a main bit, and sometimes it's just one, but you kind of have to plan it out how you want it and get all that gameplay footage or voice footage, and sometimes it's images, Sometimes there's video clips with no sound and then music over the top. And there's a lot there's a lot of thinking that has to go behind it. I think the most easiest part is probably coming up with a thumbnail. Like thumbnails are so easy, even
So,
though like for me personally, I mean,
yeah,
like
yeah,
I kind of have a graphic design background. So for me, and I think Knight's pretty much the same, we kind of got that creativity when it comes to thumbnails. So it comes
yeah.
naturally. But like when it comes to video editing, something that I'm not experienced with, it was I had to learn it. Like I want to do this. So one of the first things I learned was how do I zoom into a specific part of the video and blow that up so the viewers can actually see. Like it was, I think, one of the damage numbers. So I could zoom into that damage number and show the viewers exactly what those damage numbers were. And that was a learning curve. Like I had to Google it, look at YouTube videos for the software, kind of learn that. But once I did it, it was there. I knew it. And then other things that I've learned, like how to reduce sound levels, how to increase sound levels. There's a lot that goes behind editing a video. And sometimes it can take you like half an hour because you know exactly what you want to do. Sometimes it can take you 2 to 3 hours because there's stuff in there that you've never done before, or more complicated stuff because you've got so many different videos you want to put into the final production. It totally depends, but it does take a little practice, and it does take time. And sometimes you will, like G will know, you'll make a video and then you'll be like, you'll finalize it and then realize, hang on a minute, you missed something,
Oh boy.
or the audio kind of cut out, and you're just
Mhm.
like, oh, and you have to go all the way back, start all the way again. Sometimes it's just a simple case of like I had it once where I could just cut out segments of the audio, just slip the audio straight in, and you'd never notice the difference. Other times you'll end up trashing the whole thing, starting all over again.
Mhm. I had one last week. I missed a complete segment, but damage been done. I just uploaded it anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Night-Violator,
Kind of.
you upload many videos?
I've done a couple messing about, trying to learn. Just me like slapping a few people on conflict, and that was about it. Yeah, it's not what I really enjoy doing. I like to mess about every now and then. Thumbnails, I like doing. I like messing about with thumbnails, and
You like your graphics, don't you?
yeah, I like messing about with stuff like that, having a practice, play about. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so like, sorry, go on.
yeah, just making videos isn't really, my thing. I got a short attention span when it comes to like long videos, so I like to watch something that's really short, and yeah.
Editing, there's a lot that goes into making a video, like Dragunov was saying. Like, it is, you do need to put together like a story. You got an idea of how it needs to be. You got the voiceover, the footage to think about, and it's a lot of practice. Like you said, I remember, like, you have an idea of something you want to do on an edit. You got to put in the time to practice that, to find out how to do it. And from day one, like me, I knew nothing about video editing, nothing at all. Like, I still don't really. And you just you learn how to zoom in on something, which is good, but then you see transitions, you watch other people's videos, you're like, how do I get that transition, what's that? And it's like, that's really smart, I have no idea. And then all of a sudden you just go on Fiverr and you just buy them for 10 quid. That's what you do. There's a lot of things that you do just go on Fiverr for, and it's a lot easier than you think sometimes with video editing. But then when you get really clever with elements and stuff, which I don't touch, there's so much more you can do. Like, I just use Wondershare Filmora, which is a very basic video editor. A lot of people use Adobe Premiere, I think it is, which is like 50 quid a month, which I ain't paying for with my lack of skills. But there's so much more you can put into video editing. Lucky enough, I do very much informative videos, so people don't watch my videos for the Hollywood scenery or anything, the the effects. They watch mine for the information. So I get away with making some very lazy videos. But yeah, the story still needs to be there. You need to know your start, middle, and end. You need to know the thumbnail is going to be catchy. You need to know the title is the most important thing about the video. You know, what's going to get somebody to click on that video, because if you're making a video for YouTube, that's why you're making it. And that for me is the toughest part. What title you're going to give that video. But depending on what you're doing, it could take days, it could take hours. It really does depend, but so much goes into it. Then there's the tags, there's the description, there's SEO. There's so much thinking. Tags are important. But most of all, that video in the creation process has to be quality. You need to upload the best and create the best video you can make.
So does that mean you're not going to be bringing to life a persona like Dr. Disrespect, or you're not going to be you're not going to be doing a dress up with like fancy graphics in the background?
No, never. I wish. Dr. Disrespect, he is probably my favorite YouTuber. I love the guy, and I love everything he's built and created. I can only be me, unfortunately. I think Penny could do something like that. Have like an alter ego and act to it.
A robot outfit, or
no.
I've thought about it, like kind of having some sort of like, I've got a voice changer, and for entertainment purposes, having some sort of kind of intro where my voice changes, but I introduce myself. So it's still something I'm thinking about. I kind of taken a bit of a break from sort of putting videos on YouTube just while I'm figuring some stuff out. But that's something that I'm thinking about, creating some sort of specific intro that kind of introduces me to the video in a different voice. So I don't know how that'll catch on, but it's something that I've got in the back of my mind.
Stone Mountain does that. Stone Mountain has it. He has this. So he does some YOLO videos, and he has a voice changer when he's doing them. He's a commanding officer. That's what I used to watch. He doesn't do many of them no more. But what he does in his live streams now, when anyone ever becomes a supporter, he'll switch his voice to commanding officer and thank them for it. So it's really cool. So he only ever uses it when someone becomes a supporter, which is like fucking 100 times per stream for him. But he switches to it. It's a nice little gimmick, I guess. But people love it. Like people, it probably promotes supporters. You know, it probably promotes someone's sound click as support. I want to say my name in that voice. You know, but yeah, a lot goes into it. We could probably talk all day about that, but great question. I want to quickly just answer Tofu's. If somebody who leads a raid from LFG, but the person is a bit toxic towards others, especially to new players or players done a few raids, who can we contact a moderator right away. We don't accept toxicity. Explain everything you need to. We'll be interested in discussing that. On a scale of 1 to awesome, where do I rank from Stonebridge? Awesome. Of course. We've got time for a few more questions. I've seen Paul's in chat. Hello. Nice to see you. I've seen a few more. Have you guys got a bit more time for a couple more questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna go to, there you go, Mike HD. That's the one I saw. This is a good question. This was asked in the PG Tips that we did, our podcast on PG Tips. So how do you think of new ideas when a game is in period of no updates? It seems like a challenge. So what you mean is like the Division right now has not had an update since November. It's a game I cover. How do I, think of more ideas? It's rough. I'm not going to lie. It's really tough. Like at the minute, I'm releasing content for the sake of it, which is the worst thing you can do as a content creator. Like you've really got to try and make. So lucky enough, we've got like a community. I do a lot of community content. We've started these podcasts. With the Division, there's always builds that I can share, because you can build you do a 30 for a build every day, so you can do that. The problem with that is not many people watch them now, because not many people are playing the game. So like you do a build video, but it doesn't really get many hits. so we mainly focus on our streams. Like, something that I've grew this channel on is streaming and helping others, and nothing stops me from doing that because the player base is still there. I can pull in people for raids every day of the week. I could do 24-hour raids. I keep finding people. So I've always got that. We can always help others, which is something we do in our community. So that content's always there. And there's lots I've started doing discussion-based videos, which I've never done. We've got a couple coming this week, and they've been doing very well. So when a game's quiet, the best thing you can do as a content creator is experiment and prepare and plan. So we're in a quiet spell, but my plan is still the same because I know Division won't be quiet in a few months' time, which is really good. So we know we're only in a spell of this like quietness for a short period, and I know it's going to boom again, which is great. So I've got that relief coming. But so while it's quiet now, I need to get ready for that boom. I also need to experiment with new things. What's going to work with my current audience? You know, I've got 30,000 subscribers. What do they want to watch other than me doing informative Division videos, which is what I do, or helping with streams? You know, what do they want to watch? And conversation videos have been doing very well, so I'm just experimenting right now. That's what you should do. But the views do go down. Nothing you can do about that, unfortunately, but you could try other games, which I haven't really done yet. There's loads you can do. And then next, if we go to back to the community supporter server, rather, I think Totes was up next with a question. So this is a community question. You brought this up before, Night. So obviously there has been some great ideas that we have seen put into action in our community. But have there ever been ideas that you thought were really good that didn't make it through the process to implementation because you didn't feel that it would fit the community you were building? Is there anything we can think of to that question?
I think a lot of the time we try things out. So pretty much every bit of feedback we get from people, we take on board and we try to fit it in somewhere along the line. The stuff that doesn't get pushed through is when I go come up with ideas of being a bit extreme with cutting things back. Sometimes they haven't quite gone completely through, and we make some cutbacks, but not others. But yeah, we do make changes, but I can't think of one that didn't fit in with what we were doing, because we can sort of drag our heels quite a bit when it comes to making big decisions. So it does normally, as G said, it normally takes somebody to, in the end, to say, right, okay, we need to get this done now, stop messing around.
Yeah. We normally try anything, don't we? Like,
yeah,
there's been a few things we've not tried that I can think of. Like, I was once going to bring in, it's going back to community roles. Like, there was a lot of people that do so much for this community, and it's sad that when their time's up, that they just lose their role. It was horrible. And I was thinking of like a sort of role that thanked these people, you know, for what they did. But then the problem with that was, and this never happens, this is one of the things that Tota's on about, like, we never went through with that, because what I found was, like, roles meant so much to people, and how do I decide who gets that role and who didn't? It was just a bigger headache than it was worth. So we just didn't do it. Another thing, this is something we're actually going to try and revisit. I've wanted to bring more scheduled community events for a long time now. We have touched on community events in the past. We did a FIFA tournament that was really successful. We've done little like division competitions, like competitive streams where we've like raced each other and stuff. We have touched on community events in the past. We did a Halloween event once. Strudel came up with it. We give roles out to the winner. And what I wanted to do, this was last year, what I wanted to do with that was I kind of wanted to create little community titles. So like we'd have the FIFA title for winning the FIFA tournament, but then every 12 months or every 6 months, you'd have to defend that title. We'd do another FIFA tournament. So you'd get a role as like FIFA champ, but then next FIFA tournament, you'd have to put that role on the line. We'd do it again. And we'd have like roles that you would compete for. It's something I wanted to do and we've never done. But it's something that I am thinking about doing. I want to make regular community events, and that's still something I'd like to do. I think adding a little competitive edge to the community, it is a bad idea, but at the same time, it can be good, because when people get competitive, we see the bad side in people. But at the same time, for people that can handle it well, it's a hell of a lot of fun. It really is. And it makes some great streams and some community events for more people to get involved in, and not just on the division. But other than that, I can't think of anything we've never tried. Like Knight said, it's been little things, so things have been put forward, and we've just discussed it, and they've been drawn back a little bit. But we've always tried everything, really. Pretty much. I think we've got time for like one more question. We've been going for over an hour now. So quickly looking in the chat if there's any more. What's your favourite type of strudel? I don't like strudel. I like you. I don't like strudel. So Herbie, following this is we'll end on a supporter question. We've got following on from Tote's question. An idea is thought of, how does the process move forward? Who are the main people who expand the idea into actual reality, and how long does all of this take? Good question. So basically, Knight and Dragunov, I'm sure you've been involved in some decision-making process. Whenever there's an idea, we just discuss it at length, don't we?
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
I would say, with ideas that get brought up, as head admin, the four of us would normally discuss it. Some take slightly longer than others to discuss. Some then would just be implemented, and then some will need a further discussion and more people involved. So then sometimes things go to the entire admin team, which, is upwards of, 12, 14 people. So they all work through it. And then you start seeing then loads of extra little ideas come, and then what goes from being a really good idea becomes a great idea. And we see that quite a lot, because somebody will always think of something that somebody else hasn't. So the more people talk about it, the better, really.
Definitely. We discuss that. Like we go through all the pros, all the cons. We try and figure scenarios depending on what it is, I guess more stuff has been rejected than what we can think of, because I'm sure there's some silly ideas in the past. I wish Outriders was forgot about and declined. That's something that didn't work. We've recently deleted those channels. But you don't know about some ideas until you put them into practice, do you? Until a game comes out. Like, we want to expand this community, so we try expanding into different games. Sometimes they don't work. It's trial and error, and it's a lot of discussion with any idea that's brought forward. I think go on, Dragunov.
Touch on very quickly. There's obviously games coming out this year, and we've spoke about it, G, on a specific game, but that game is hopefully going to become a part of the community, which is going to take a long process because it's a brand new game. It's going to have people from the community playing it. It's going to have to possibly have channels set up for it, roles set up for it, voice channels set up for it, and that kind of thing. That we've been recently discussing that and how we'd implement that. But I think what you do is you just start off with the basics of what the idea is, and then kind of branch off from there. That's how any idea normally
get feedback
works.
as well. Yeah, you get feedback for it.
Yeah, and more heads are better than just one.
Definitely.
That's how it goes,
And you make a good point. We're already talking about that now. Kedri just said in chat that he's seen some ideas go straight through because they were that good. He's seen it multiple times. In that could be the case, but a lot of the time where an idea goes straight through, we've recently done this with the new maintenance team. We've been discussing a maintenance team for 12 months. No lie. I mentioned a maintenance team 12 months ago. That's been up in the air for that long. So where it gets to a point sometimes where something's been discussed on and off, where it comes back up again, and I'm just like, you know what? It needs doing. Do. Or someone's just like that, And they might be the instances where sometimes, like Kedri said, sometimes there's some ideas just go straight through, but they probably have been discussed in the past at some point. and we've just slept on it. Because we love sleeping on things sometimes, you know? Sometimes when you sleep on things, they can mature and develop and get more insight from other people or whatnot. But we are going to finish it there. Thank you, Dragunov and Night, for joining me on this episode 2 of Let's Talk.
Thank
It was
you.
really good. It's great to get to know more about you and your story for people that didn't know. It's a good conversation about the community roles as well. I felt we got some good points across. The live chat seemed to enjoy that. And the Q&As were good as well. Is there anything you guys want to say before we finish this?
No, I don't think so.
Not really. Just kind of do what you do in the community. Carry on doing exactly what you think you should be doing, and eventually, people will notice you. And if you're prepared to take a role on, it will come to you. You don't need to go, you don't need to chase it. Just take your time. Just take your time. Make sure it's right for you as well.
Yeah. Definitely. Just to finish, a few more questions that I'm seeing popping up there, or a few more. I've seen questions asked by those who aren't members and they are ignored. Is this for members only, pay to play, so to speak? No, I pretty much answered every question in live chat tonight, so I don't know what you're watching. You must be watching the wrong Let's Talk. But thank you for watching, everyone. We're going to end it there. And if you are listening to the podcast, you just need to search GCROCK on YouTube and Discord to find us. Make sure you follow. And if you're watching a live chat, this is going to go out to podcast. I'm going to post a link to it when we post our next PG Tips episode next week. So there'll be a link to this podcast. You can check it in the pinned message as well if you want to follow this and listen to it on podcast. If you don't think you can always make the live stream. Thank you for showing up tonight. And thank you again, guys, for being involved. We'll end that podcast there. Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah. It was
Take care,
awesome.
guys.
Take care, guys. See you later. Mute us.